Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Hours in My Library. And today I'm going to look at a book that that was published in 1811, or at least printed. This version printed in 1811, and this is 3/4 leather because it's got leather on the spine and on the corners, and the rest is paper. This is pretty rough. The boards are showing, the corners are all rubbed off, and there's lots of rubbing on the front boards. Marbled end papers. And it's called The Seasons by James Thompson. But it's also, to which is prefixed, The Life of the Author by P. Murdoch, and an essay on the plan and character of the poem by J. Aiken. And it was printed for Wilkie and Robson, J. Walker, Cadell, and Davis. And it just goes on. But 1811, it was printed. Now, it is a poem in 4 parts, and it's literally the season, so it's a section for every poem. James Thompson lived from 1700 to 1748. The first part of this came out in 1726, and then one every year, and then the final was published, I think, together in 1730. Now, it's an interesting poem, but it's in blank verse, so it's got metrical lines, but there's no rhyming scheme and everything else. And he uses sort of inverted language at times, and he doesn't use a commonplace way to, or just the general way of describing things. He gets a bit convoluted at times. But the reason why I actually got this originally was because John Clare is my favorite, I guess you would say, my favorite poet. And John Clare was born in 1793 and died in 1864. He was born in Helpston, and around 1808, when he was like 14 going on to 15 years old, at some point, I think a relative, or no, it was, I think, a local priest gave him or lent him a copy of The Seasons. And he wanted a copy of his own, so he started working, which was next door, which was a pub, sort of emptying buckets and cleaning up a little bit. And he made enough money, I think it was 6 pence of that time, to buy a copy of the book. So he walked it was quite a ways on a Sunday, to Stamford, to a bookshop, but it was closed because it was Sunday. So he had to go back the next day. But he eventually got a copy of the Seasons. And so I really wanted a copy that was, like, it would have been nice to have the same printing that he had, and I don't think I've ever been able to find out what that was. There is a catalog of his books that was at the Northampton Public Library, which I need to look at, because I don't know if it's going to be the same edition that he bought originally, but there might be some notes in there regarding it, because a lot of his copies of books were gifts with inscriptions in it. But yeah, but this is close. He bought it around 1808, and this is 1811, so it's within the lifetime, or a few years, of when John Clare bought the book. But anyway, this is, sorry, I spent more time on other things, but there's some nice engravings. This is autumn. Let me see. You might be able to see that better. Yeah, just some wonderful. They might be copper engravings. I'm not sure. I've never really had been able to identify them just by the look of them, but they are very good etchings or engravings. And that was summer. There's at least one for every season. Summer. And here's spring. Let's see if I can find winter. There we go. There's winter. Anyway, there's my book for hours in my library this week. And I could have actually done this for tomorrow for forgotten authors, because he's probably a fairly forgotten author today, but maybe eventually. And then maybe I can talk a little more about James Thompson, his life, and read little bits from it. Anyway, I'll see you next time, BookTube. Thank you.